Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. Teresa Whipple here with Steve Willits, and thanks to our sponsor, Red Onion Cafe and Seafood Bar. I had to look because I'm still not used to the new name.
We're getting there, though.
We are.
At least you kept the red onion part, so it's made it a little bit easier.
That has made it a little bit easier. So thanks, as always, to Sean Richards for his support. And we are going to start by talking about, track and field, Edmonds-Woodway. What do you have to tell us?
Well, we're into postseason right now, too.
Yeah.
So this is where all the tournaments are going on, district tournaments, Edmonds-School District tournaments and other sports, and track and field's one of them. This is where everybody got together on Friday, all 4 schools in the Edmonds-School District. Big deal every year. They always have a big meet at the end of the season, and trophies given out and everything. And Edmonds-Woodway, the girls, dominating from the track and field standpoint, winning 15 of the 18 events. So Edmonds-Woodway kind of running away with that one, no pun intended. A little bit closer on the boys' side of things, but Edmonds-Woodway did get the victory, 16 points ahead of Linwood and Meadowdale, and Mettling Terrace was only a couple points back, which in the track and field world, that's pretty close. So really a great battle between all 4 schools, but Edmonds-Woodway did prevail. And so now we go into these sub-districts. So we go sub-districts and then districts and then on to state the following week. Sub-districts are taking place on Wednesday and Friday of this week. For the 3A schools, which means everybody except for Mettling Terrace, Edmonds-Woodway, Linwood, and Meadowdale will be over at Edmonds Stadium, again, Wednesday and Friday to compete. And then Mettling Terrace will head over to Cedar Crest High School for the 2A sub-district. So a big track and field week coming up.
Very cool. Well, and, shameless plug, we had some great photos on our 3 websites. We had 2 photographers out there, and if you haven't had a chance, check out MLT News, My Edmonds News, or Linwood Today.
And certainly for a lot of the individual results, too. Track and field's always a tough one for us because there's so much going on. And we've read a lot of the names in the past, and it's a lot of the same names. So I didn't want to start singling people out this week. But certainly go to those websites.
Because there were a lot of them.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people.
We don't have time to read them all.
No, and
but
so some great performances, though, and more coming up in the next couple weeks, too.
That's right. Okay. Well, let's move on to softball and baseball.
Softball, the one sport that is not in postseason yet, although they will be by this time next week. All 4 of our schools with one home game or one game left, and all 4 of them just happen to be at home this week. None of them playing each other, so it could be kind of interesting. But if you're from one of these 4 schools and you want to get out and support your softball team, you've got a great chance to do it, and the weather should be ideal this week. So on Monday, and all these games are 4 o'clock start times, Edmonds-Woodway hosting Snohomish, who I think right now is number 2 in the league. So that's a big game for them. Linwood is hosting Marysville-Pilchuck. And then the following day on Tuesday, Meadowdale hosts Marysville-Getchell, and Mettling Terrace hosts Everett. So again, senior day for all 4 of those schools. And then we go on to the playoffs, which start next week. Well, there is one little caveat to throw in there. If you're one of the top 6 ranked teams in your district, you get an automatic berth into the playoffs. If you're 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, you have to do a 1-game play-in to get one of those final seeds and one of those final berths for the playoffs. Linwood right now is in the number 10 spot, so they're just barely clinging on to a spot. So Linwood's probably going to have to play on Thursday this week just to get into districts at a site to be determined. Edmonds-Woodway right now is in the number 6 spot, so unless anything changes drastically, they should be in, but they could also be playing a play-in game and maybe even against each other. So stay tuned for that. We'll definitely keep people posted on there. But Meadowdale and Mettling Terrace already punched their tickets into their districts, so they're just more or less playing for seeding right now. So a big week coming up for softball, too.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll have those results as well. And let's talk baseball.
Let's talk baseball. District playoffs already started. We've already lost one of our teams. Mettling Terrace getting eliminated earlier this week. But a great season for them, and great job for Andrew Waters, who we've talked about on here before, finally retiring after 20 years as the head coach there. And then our other 3 teams got going with their 3A district playoff this weekend. 2 of those teams losing and moving into the consolation bracket since it's double elimination. We had Linwood, who lost to Edmonds-Woodway 15-2. Ouch. So Linwood has to play on Tuesday to try to keep their season alive. However, Edmonds-Woodway does advance. They move into the district semifinals, and they've got a big game coming up against Everett on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Everett Memorial Stadium, so great chance to get out there and watch that game. And if they can win that one, they'll play in the district championship game also at Everett Memorial Stadium at 1 o'clock on Saturday. The other team was Meadowdale. Meadowdale losing to Everett over the weekend. So Meadowdale now moves into the consolation bracket where they will face Linwood on Tuesday at Meadowdale High School. There will be a quiz on this later, so make sure you're taking notes. So,
I'm trying to follow you.
right, Meadowdale and Linwood, one of them is going to be ending their season on Tuesday because they play each other. Haven't talked to Meadowdale yet this year, so we brought the Maverick players in to talk to them on this week. Had really a nice season for them so far, too. 11 wins, and this is a team that graduated quite a few seniors off of a very good squad last year, so we weren't sure what to expect. And so far, I think they've exceeded quite a few folks' expectations, and they're hoping to keep their season alive. So here is our interview that we did with the Meadowdale Mavericks this week. It is district playoff baseball time of year. And joining us right now, one of the teams that is currently in the running, hopefully to get to state, although a little bit tougher road now after the weekend, but they're still alive, they're still going. It's the Meadowdale Mavericks, and joining us right now we have Luke Hunnewell, who is a third baseman and a pitcher, and only a junior. Finn Wendt, one of the two seniors on the team, who is the first baseman, and then Zach Mattson, who is the pitcher on the team, and also a junior. Guys, 11 wins on the season, you made the playoffs. And I guess, Luke, maybe I'll start off with you on this one. This is a team that we didn't really know what to expect going into the year. You guys were kind of the wild card in Wesco. You lost quite a few seniors, a lot of your firepower. What was the expectation for the players and the team? What were you guys talking about going in?
Well, the whole season has been like, no one knows what we're capable of except for us. And like, we show our glimpses of how talented we are. And coaches are always like, no one knows what to expect out of you guys, so just come out, and you guys are like, you're the dark horse, so just come out and run and just play your hearts off.
Well, and Finn, for you, we mentioned it already, you're one of two seniors on this team, so it's kind of now or never for you. With all those seniors graduating and such a young team coming back, what was it like for the seniors on the squad, knowing that, hey, I'm going to try to get back to state, or I'm going to try to get there, but we're doing it with a young squad this year?
Yeah, there's definitely some big boots to fill coming off that massive season last year. But I love these guys a lot. They're my brothers. We're pretty good friends. I was excited to come out with them, and it's been a blast so far. So.
And Zach, I'm going to take a guess here and say that when you guys put together your goals on paper this year, goal number one, I'm sure, was districts, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that you're here now, you're playing in the district playoffs, what does that mean to this squad? Is it something, did you guys celebrate that when you finally clinched that spot?
Yeah, it meant a lot to us. It definitely showed that what we could do was definitely special, and that all of us together as a team is definitely one of the best things that could happen for Meadowdale this year. But I definitely think we can go further this year. We just got to put that work in.
So it's a double elimination tournament. We got started on Saturday, and unfortunately, a little bit of a rough one. You guys played an Everett Seagulls team that was 15-5 on the year. You guys were tied going into the sixth inning, 2-2, and then they kind of opened it up a little, 8-4 game. Luke, you're playing over at Everett Memorial Stadium. That's kind of a big deal in itself. Talk about the game a little bit. What did you gain out of it, and what do we know about this Meadowdale team moving forward now that you've got that game out of the system?
Well, our coaches said that we need to bring our energy that we've always had, and we came out in the first two innings just like roaring, we were crazy, like everyone had full steam, like everyone just wanted to be there. And then we scored 2 early runs, and we were all like super excited, and then they came back, and after that we were just like back and forth, like 3 up, 3 down pretty much. And then they just they made a couple plays. They had a suicide squeeze, and then they had just a 3-run triple, I think it was. And it was just like that kind of broke it open, and we couldn't respond, and it was just a bummer that we didn't have like that firepower that they had at that one point.
It's baseball, right? That happens from time to time.
Yep.
And Finn, you pointed out a stat to me that I didn't realize. Not a good stat necessarily, but you guys have played 5 times, or during your career, 5 times at Everett Memorial, 0-5.
Yeah.
Speaks volumes to also some of the teams you're playing there. Once you get to the stadium there where you're playing under the big lights, you're not exactly playing the easy opponents. Is it different when you play at Everett Memorial? What's the experience like?
It's definitely different. When you step on that field, it's completely different from any other Wesco field, any other field I've ever stepped on. It just makes you want to be a better player, makes you want to have a lot of fun on the field, makes you want to make those big, flashy plays. But yeah, it's a great experience.
Zach, what's it like for you guys when you're out there throwing on the mound? I mean, I know you didn't get any innings the other day, but I mean, when you're out there kind of getting that experience, does it just have a different feel to it as well?
Yeah, you feel a lot more professional. You definitely feel like you're in the game. You just have all that. I wouldn't say it's like bad pressure, but it's a good feeling. It's a lot of adrenaline to be on that kind of field and play and get against the other team, and you do your best and throw hardest.
Talk about your game coming up. You guys are now in the consolation bracket. You got to get 2 victories this week in order to qualify for state. and you've only got one loss to give. Now you're playing Linwood on Tuesday. Zach, this is a Linwood team you guys know pretty well, right?
Yes.
First of all, you're playing at home on Tuesday as well. What's it like being back at home for that game? Is there such a thing as home field advantage in baseball?
I definitely think home field advantage is definitely a thing. We know our field better than a lot of other teams. We know what it's like to play on that field, and so having that home field advantage is a lot better than having to play at Linwood. I love Linwood Field. It's just I think I love playing at Meadowdale and having that home field advantage.
And Finn, for you, probably kind of bittersweet. You're the senior, so again, not a chance to play at Meadowdale again next year. I guess if there is a positive to going into the consolation bracket, you get one more home game too, right? So what's it going to be like for you for stepping on that field one last time?
I mean, it's kind of nice. I thought I'd be done there, hopefully, but the way it worked out, we're going to be back there, back on the swamp, this little gem of a field that we call home. Unluckily for me, these guys next year are probably going to get brand new fancy turf field, but
Let's go.
I'm excited to go back one more time.
I was just going to ask you about that, Luke. You guys are kind of excited about that.
Yeah, our coaches say that there's like by June 1st, they're going to completely rip up our field and bring in some turf. And like we have the Meadowdale playfield, so during practices we can just go over there if it's raining. But now we can actually like stay home and just like practice where we need to be and everything.
And no more home games at Mount Lake Terrace High School?
Yep, no
So
more.
you guys would be
More 7 o'clock home games.
Yeah, I can imagine. Those get kind of old after a while too,
Yeah.
right? Tell me a little bit about the style of this team. Is it fair, Zach, to say this is a small ball team?
I would say it's fair to say that. We're definitely not one of the power hitter teams, but we definitely can have the run game for it. We have a lot of speed in our team, so again, that's how we get a lot of our runs, is being able to put pressure on the other teams and being able to run around. Like another one of our guys, Parker Cumberland, he's a speed demon, and he can come around second, go around third, and he's already at home by the time they're trying to throw the ball there. And so I think we're definitely one of those teams that is running, but we may not have the power for it, but we can definitely pull it off.
And not trying to outslug people like maybe they've done in years past. And another team you guys might see again this week. Again, you got to beat Linwood first on Tuesday. If you do that, you play again on Wednesday against either Arlington or Shorewood. The loser of that game, they're playing in the semifinals against each other. We're kind of guessing it's Shorewood because Arlington is undefeated and quite possibly might be the best team in state. Shorewood's kind of an interesting one. Finn, you guys played them twice this year. Your senior day at your place, their senior day at their place, and you guys kind of spoiled it for each other, right? The road team winning each time.
Yep.
So what would it be like to see Shorewood again? You guys just saw them not that long ago, too.
Yeah, man, I'd love to beat those guys. I definitely did not like them taking away my senior night. I just want to send them home, make them pack their bags.
A little extra incentive.
Yeah, definitely.
So when we look back on the season right now, and again, we're hoping there's going to be more memories to come. What are we thinking of as some of the highlights of the year? Luke, I know a big win over the team that actually finished first in the South, even though they're not in the playoff contention because they're in another classification. You guys got one against Murphy this year.
Yeah, well, I started on the bump, and we came out and we just consistently scored runs. We put up 8 runs, I think we finished with, and it was like in the first 3 innings. And so for me, it was just pitch to contact, make them hit, make them score runs. Like we have a comfortable lead and everything. And so we came out and we made all the plays we needed to, and we ended up scoring a 9th run in the last inning. And it was just like a comfortable padding. And then it felt good to beat the top dogs because it's just like we're middle of the pack, and then we come out and beat the big guys. It just feels good.
Well, and you start to look down the season, too, and you guys had a 4-game losing streak to enter the year. You're playing non-conference games, but you're playing some really tough opponents, one of which was Everett, who you just saw over the weekend, but Jackson, who's always one of the top 4A teams, Lake Stevens, Cascade, who won Wesco 4A this year. Zach, do you guys find that in some ways that made you a better team?
Yeah, I definitely think playing those non-conference games against those 4A teams definitely put a lot of confidence in us when we started playing into the conference games. Like when we on our last non-conference game against Marysville Pilchuck, when we beat them, that just gave us that boost of energy to get through this whole regular season, and we just boosted right through, and it was the greatest thing ever.
So let's do everybody's favorite segment here. Let's talk about each other a little bit here and tell me what some of the strengths are that are sitting at the table here. Luke, I'm going to start with you. Tell me about Finn in the middle here. What kind of a player is he? What kind of a teammate? First baseman, one of the seniors on this squad, right? Who is he?
Well, he's like a big teddy bear, and he's just like a great guy. But on the field, like for me, throwing across the field, like sometimes if I come out of pitching, like my arm's sore and I can't make it all the way across the field, I'll throw a short hop and he'll always get it. Like he's just a vacuum over here. Like I'll throw anything anywhere and he'll catch it. And our coaches are always like, he'll get you extra outs. You just got to get it close to him. and he just swamps everything up. He catches everything. He makes great plays, lays out for balls even if he doesn't need to. Like he's just there to give it to 100.
And for a third baseman, that's a nice luxury to have, right? When
Oh,
the
yeah.
first baseman can scoop everything.
For sure. Yep.
So now, Finn, I'm going to ask you to tell me about Zach in a minute, but first I want to have you tell me about Nolan Eskew, the other senior who's not here. Give a little shout out to your fellow class of 19. What kind of a guy is he? What kind of a player?
Nolan, that kid, I love that kid. I've grown up with him pretty much my whole life, played in Little League. Go over to his house, play Madden all the time. He's just super nice guy, really quiet guy, but when he gets behind the dish, he steps up to the plate. He's solid back there. I know if there's ever a back pit called or anything, I know he can hit me. I know we have really good chemistry and we're confident in each other.
So is this a big Madden playing team also?
Yeah.
Do we have a Madden champ on the baseball team, or start a little controversy here when the guys are watching?
Yikes.
Got to think about that one for a minute. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, while you're thinking about that, tell me a little bit about Zach. What kind of pitcher is Mr. Mattson?
Oh man, Zach's a guy. He'll come in every once in a while, practice, crack a joke, walking around like he owns the place. But can bring him in late in the games. We know he can deliver strikes. He'll deliver the play. He'll do his job. He's just a guy you can trust out there on the hill. And,
Cracking jokes, does that mean you're pretty loose when you're out there?
Yeah.
Is that important for you as a baseball player? Does that keep the team loose?
It definitely helps the team to like kind of keep an open mind and not kind of get all crunched up. And I kind of notice it keeps them pretty relaxed, loose, get the game going, and they know what they're doing.
And now you've got another junior over here, Mr. Hunnewell, third baseman, pitcher. Tell me about him.
Oh man, he's one of my favorite people. He's one of our greatest hype men in the dugout and throughout the field. I can definitely trust him as one of my third basemen whenever I'm out there pitching on the bump. And when I know he's starting for the game, I know we're going to get a good game going in there, especially when we beat Archbishop Murphy 9-5. That was the greatest thing ever.
Another shout out for the Murphy win. And you guys play against each other in select too, right? Or you guys play on rival teams, or do you guys play?
So for select, he's on 16U and I'm on 18U.
Okay, so you never have to worry about seeing him at the.
Yeah, I gotta worry about him. I think I'd lose if I went against him.
Okay, that was my next question. So there hasn't been a showdown there yet, right?
No.
Not yet.
And you mentioned hype a minute ago. Finn, I understand you're the hype video guy on the team, right?
Yeah.
What's up with that? Are you posting some videos out there to get the team ready, or is it a school thing? Talk a little bit about these videos you're making.
Yeah, it's more of a school thing. So for football and basketball season, when I've been able to go out there with the camera, get some bunch of shots the whole game. It's kind of hard being away from the student section, but I've been able to. I got a bunch of shots, so footage of the game. And I put it all together, make some ads, make some hype videos, put it on YouTube, and they got a little bit of traction. And I think it definitely helped. We played Woodway for the Rubber Chicken Game in basketball. Got a big video for that. And we had a crazy student section versus Woodway for basketball. Like, it was bigger than our home student section. And we were at Woodway, and that was a crazy atmosphere, and I was really happy to be part of that.
Well, a time for a little self-promotion. Where do people find these videos?
I put them on my YouTube. It's just my name, Finn Wendt. Yeah, that's where you can find them. Check them out.
There we go. And we had Matthew Johnson in here last year. He was handling the news at the school, the news videos. Are you not doing those this year? Is that what I've heard?
Yeah, I took over that. Worked with my group of guys. Shout out Adrian, Aiden, and Jared out there. Every week putting out the news for the school. It's pretty fun. Yeah, make some funny videos.
So Luke, you're on the basketball team. How are the videos? Does he help get folks out to the stable?
Oh, for
The
sure.
student body?
Yeah. We struggled to get guys out to people out to the stands last year, but then this year he made these videos and they got like 2,000 views on average, and everyone posted them. You'd see them on every person's stories or like their main posts, and people just showed out with just energy, and it was crazy.
So doing our show, this is easy stuff for you then. Nice. Zach, how are the videos working for the baseball team? Does it get the guys jacked up a little bit?
Oh man, I wish he got some of the videos for us, but he had a couple that were starting out when we went against Edmonds-Woodway. He would get a couple in to get us hyped up. But as being a part of actually playing for the team, it was a little more difficult to try to get some of those hype videos up for us. But I think they definitely help out with getting the energy up and going.
So what does the team do to get hyped up for games?
What we usually do is we have a little ritual outside in the outfield. So basically what we all do is we get out in the circle after we do a little bit of a run game, stealing and everything like that. And we get in the circle, put our arms around each other, basically just knowing that we're brothers, we know what we're doing, we can trust each other, and kind of get hyped up a little bit with a song a little bit, kind of dance a little bit, get it going, and just kind of make sure everyone knows that we got each other's back.
So let's talk a little bit also before we end this about some of the other players in the field there. Maybe start off with some of the other infielders. Luke, who are we looking at?
Well, we have a very, everyone can play everywhere pretty much in our infield, except for, me and Finn. We kind of are the bases of the corners. But when I'm pitching, we have Cutter, we have Cole, and we have Brady, who all rotate kind of shortstop, second, third, if needed. And they are all just there to give 100. And like Cole, he made a diving play at Everett Memorial. And right before that, he goes diving bodies, just like we always say, to keep the ball in the infield because we got to make plays. And he just goes full extension, layout, backhand, and he just dives, makes a great play. We come in, celebrate together, and they're all just great players, all three of them. They just bring energy, and they're always there to just make highlight plays.
Third out in the inning, too, I might add, for Cole on his diving play, so
Yep.
very nicely done. Finn, who do we have in the outfield this year?
Well, we got Parker Cumberland, Mason Vaughn, and really switches up out there. Caleb Berry, he's a big guy out there. I see these guys, they're so solid, man. They make all the catches, they make all the plays. Hit me at cut sometimes, that's pretty fun, but I can trust these guys to lock it down out there.
And then Zach, who are some of the other pitchers we're looking at this year?
Some of the pitchers we got is, again, Caleb Berry, who plays in the outfield, and Parker Cumberland. They kind of switch between outfield and infield, or pitcher. And then the main pitchers we got is another PO is Casey Toller. He starts a lot of games for us. He's a great pitcher, very well trusted, and I can definitely trust him to pitch for us during a game. And then also we have Mason Vaughn, and then again Luke Hunnewell, who pitches for us. So that's basically who we have.
So the entire, pretty much the entire pitching staff back next year.
Yeah.
So look out for the Mavericks then. But first and foremost, we've got this week to worry about. So again, we're looking at Linwood over at Meadowdale High School on Tuesday, 4 p.m. start time. If everything goes well there, Wednesday they will be playing either at Arlington or at Shorewood. And then fingers crossed, if that goes well, you guys will play into Saturday over at Everett Memorial, albeit by then you'll have punched your ticket for state. So 2 wins and you're in, 1 loss in between here, and it's all over. Guys, let's keep it going. What do you say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we got this.
Looking forward to it. And we should also mention, Finn, you're the senior here. Where are you heading off to next year?
I'm head up to Western.
Do we know what we're studying yet, or is that to be determined?
Not quite yet, no. Still thinking about it.
We got a Viking fan over here. Is that for Sister Lauren, who
Yeah,
was on the show a few years ago?
yeah. She's my best friend, and she's up at Western, so go Vikings.
There we go. So yeah, we should also mention we had a couple sisters on here who have been on the show before too. Megan, your sister, a rower, was on the show one other time.
Yeah, Megan Mattson, she rode for Green Lake Crew, and so that's what she did, and she came down here to do an interview with you guys.
And she's also up at Western now.
Yes, she is.
So there we go. So we got the Viking connection going there, the nice little pipeline coming from Meadowdale. Guys, thanks a lot for the interview. Great job this season thus far, and hopefully we'll be talking about you guys next week. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the best parts about baseball playoffs is getting to go watch a game at Everett Memorial Stadium. For
Yeah,
those of us
always
who
a good
don't
time.
get to go there. I know you do some work with the Aqua Sox, so you spend some time up there in the summer. But it is a really fun stadium. to be
And I got a little spoiled this weekend. I actually was a public address announcer for all 3 games. So
Oh, you were?
That was kind of cool. So the
fun.
Meadowdale game, unfortunately for them, they came out on the short end. But yeah, definitely an interesting perspective to watch the game from up there in the booth and to watch these guys. And we had great weather there too as well. But yeah, I mean, and they all talk about it too. The fact that you're playing at a minor league stadium, you've got the big scoreboard, the giant walls with all the sponsorship on them. You've got the porch out in right field where the home run's can get hit up on the hill. And the guys all say it's a different feel and different atmosphere, music playing in between innings. And yeah, I think even though the Mavericks lost that game, I think they still enjoyed it. And just a great place to go watch baseball. I'm a little biased, but nonetheless, it's fantastic. So
Yeah,
if
it's
you get a
fun.
chance, there's a lot of baseball going on there this
Yeah,
week.
there is. Okay. So now we move on to soccer.
We're going to talk a little soccer. It's also, guess what, district playoffs.
Yeah.
So more to talk about there. Linwood, they had their season come to an end. Mount Lake Terrace, really interesting game. One of the better games of all the sports that we covered this week. They played Seaholm the other day, a team that is ranked number 1 right now in the district anyway for 2A, and a team that a lot of folks think is going to maybe win the state championship this year. Mount Lake Terrace down by 2 goals with I think 4 minutes to go, scored 2 goals within about a 60-second window, tied the game up, and then unfortunately Seaholm defeated them in overtime. So the Hawks move into the consolation bracket. They're going to be playing over at Cedar Crest on Tuesday, so they're going to try to keep their season going. And then we've got a couple other teams to talk about. 2 teams that came away victorious on Saturday. This is big. Quarterfinals. We'll start off by talking about Meadowdale. The Mavericks, down by a goal to Snohomish. 1-0 late in the game. They get the equalizer, if you will. They scored a goal with 7 minutes to go to tie it. And then they end up going into penalty kicks where Kyle Hoke, the goalkeeper for Meadowdale, came up huge. 3 big stops in penalty kicks. So Meadowdale advances into the district semifinal. And with a win over Snohomish, they're going to be taking on Edmonds-Woodway. And we know how that rivalry is.
Oh, yeah.
Edmonds-Woodway, a team that was the number 6 seed coming into the playoffs, taking on Shorewood, who was the number 3 seed. And Edmonds-Woodway goes onto their home turf and gets the victory, 1-0 on Saturday against Shorewood. And by getting that victory, Edmonds-Woodway gets one step closer to making it to the state tournament. So perfect segue, perfect week to bring the Warriors in to talk a little soccer. Here's a conversation we had earlier with Mackey, Ben, and Sebastian. The Edmonds-Woodway soccer team with a huge 1-0 victory on Saturday over Shorewood. That was in the quarterfinals of the district playoffs. They're heading to the semifinals, and it's been a few years too. Came up short the last couple years, and now they are 1 game away from qualifying for state. And joining us right now, 3 of the members from that team. We have Mackey Guenther, the goalkeeper on the end, Ben Banks, the forward in the middle, and then Sebastian Olson, who's a midfielder right next to me. Guys, congratulations. You finally get over that hump. Ben, we just mentioned it a minute ago. The last couple of years, the playoffs haven't quite gone as planned. 2 and out last year in double elimination, and now you guys are 1 game away from state. How big of a deal was that to get that victory on Saturday?
I think that was probably one of our most important victories of the season. Coming up short these last 2 years since I've been at Woodway, it's been painful in a way because, everyone wants to make it to state, and when you want to like a few sports at your school to not go to state, it really hurts. So I think that win yesterday, we felt great. His brother getting the winning goal, we really needed that, and it feels great. And again, going against Meadowdale for the semi-finals, they were the ones who bumped us out last year, so it's definitely more of an incentive to win and get to the district's final. And even if we lose the district final, we're still going to state. So I just think it just feels great.
Definitely. We were just going to talk about the Guenthers. Big day in the household, right?
Shout out Jacob.
There you go. Yeah. Talk about the only goal of the game. I was going to say the winning goal. The only goal scored by your twin brother. That's kind of a big deal.
It is kind of a big deal. Yeah. So, I mean, from my vantage point back in the goal, I didn't really see how everything went down, but, I see him running back, and he's obviously excited about his mind because it's the first time he scored in, a few games, and really, doesn't score that much. Just in general. So it was super exciting to see him score. I know he's pretty excited about it too. Just a really great moment, especially because he's in the back line. So just having every part of the team contribute to winning is really important.
Well, and you can't script this any better, right? A 1-0 game. The only goal is scored by your twin brother, and you're back there with the clean sheet and the goal, shutting the team out. So. Kind of a big deal. Was the family excited? Was everybody at the game attending?
It was our best collective game in a while. Definitely a big deal for us.
And we should mention, you're not the only sets of brothers on the team. We've got, three different sets of siblings?
Yep.
Sebastian, you know a thing or two about having a sibling on the team, right? Give a little shout out to your little brother.
Yeah, shout out Eddie.
So Eddie Olson, only a freshman and playing already?
Yeah, it's been great. And then also Chris Hamby's little brother, Ryan Hamby, is also a freshman, and I feel like it's just helped a lot with chemistry. And also just being able to say things to them that you wouldn't be able to say to someone else on the field.
Well, and I've been told you're kind of a vocal leader on the team too. So when little brother messes up, are you on his case pretty good, or does he get treated any differently?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna come right out and say it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean he's definitely a leader on the field. That doesn't change anything for his brother.
Yeah.
Definitely, he has a license to be a little bit more vocal with family. So, but no, it's important to have those connections all over the field. In the back line, we have Jacob and I, and then, connecting to the middle, we have Ryan and Chris, and then obviously those guys are sort of middle attacking as well. The twin communication sort of brings the team together, I think. Or not the twin, but the sibling communication really brings the team together.
Well,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Ben was telling me earlier before we started rolling, because we had you in here last year as well, and this is no disrespect for last year's team, but this is a much tighter team this year, right?
Nah, this team, at my time being at Woodway, this team has easily been my most favorite team. Everyone, compared to last year's team, we obviously had our glory moments. We went on like a fascinating win streak last year. But then, when it came to, actually win to make it a stage, it just all fell apart. People checked out. But this team, since I'd say basically the very beginning up until now, everyone's worked hard. Everyone shows up. Everyone knows we got to do what we got to do, or else it's not going to happen. So, and I don't know, just as Mackey mentioned earlier, the chemistry's there. We actually like each other. Last year's team with the seniors was a bit cliquey. People, didn't like other people, wouldn't talk to other people. So on the field, that definitely turned out to be like nothing good. But this year, there's not a lot of clicks. Everybody, we're there for each other, and it's just great. You always know someone's gonna be backing you out there. So
Playing as a team, and now you're within one game of getting to state.
game, yeah.
Talk a little bit about each other here. And Mackey, maybe I'll start with you. Let's just go right to your left here. Tell me a little bit about Ben and what kind of a player is he? What kind of a teammate is he?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben's our attacking midfielder, left winger, striker, sort of extraordinaire. He's probably one of the hardest working people on the field at any time. He's super focused. He brings the people around him to understand that we're not going to be winning big games unless we give 100% of our energy. He's a super social guy, super fun to be around in practice. We get to the games, sort of shuts up a little bit and just does the job. And he's really just a super important part of making sure that our offense is just focused and giving their all the time.
And Ben, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this last year, but I detect a little accent there. What is your background? Where are you from? And
I'm an orphan. I'm from Essex. Let's just clear that up real quick. Simple and straight.
Essex is where you began playing soccer then, or?
I would say didn't really have the money or the funds. I didn't even have a pair of boots until I was 10 years old. I kind of nicked those, but we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, so just a lot of street ball. Didn't have money to play on a club. Club isn't cheap, and then I actually didn't start playing club until I got here after seventh grade.
So how easy has it been to adjust to just the American game and playing on a team and organized soccer?
I mean, for me, it's easy wherever you go. I mean, playing is playing. I love to play. Never have complaints about it. Obviously, Europe competition is a lot more fierce than it is here. But as I've learned quick, there's clubs around here who are really, really good and develop really great talent. And even in high school, some standout kids that I've came against, lost to, played with. But yeah, it's great. So
And one of those talented players is the guy sitting right next to you here.
obviously,
Tell me a little bit about Sebastian Olson, leading the team in goals and assists this year. Is that-
Straight up, this is our best player right here. Half of the reason we are where we're at is because of him. I think he has 10 or 11 goals, also leading assist, not showing the number on that. But I think, as Mackey mentioned before we started, the rallying point kind of is around Sebastian. Even in midfield, you could tell yesterday's game, this weekend, it's a lot quieter in there. He's a vocal leader in there. Without him there, it's a bit down. But once again, he set us up nicely, and I think we, as a team, just owe it to him to.
and we should
We
point
owe it
out
to him.
unfortunately,
We owe it to him.
we haven't mentioned that yet in the interview, but the negative thing that's going on here is that you are out for the season. You injured your knee last week.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you? First of all, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better now. Yeah, that I've got to think about it, and I'm hoping to be back by next year and still be playing soccer.
Yeah, only a junior, so.
Yeah.
And for you, again, vocal leader as well as outstanding player, what does it mean for you to still want to be part of this team and to do what you can? What role did you play on Saturday, for instance?
I mean, even though I can't play, I guess I'm still. A lot of the role that I played on the team was kind of organizing people and basically just yelling out at people and trying to get them into position and keeping people focused too. So I still did that from the sideline kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of easier to see from the sideline too where everyone is. So I feel like on Saturday, basically my role was just to maybe try to keep people organized and just keep it going. I couldn't be on the field and really give much of a physical contribution, but that was what I felt I did.
Mackey, could you hear Coach Olson out there on the
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, he's I don't know. I remember playing FIFA back in the day, and you have these career mode. You can be a player manager. Sebastian's definitely like a player coach. He definitely brings a sort of guidance to the midfield and also the attack that we definitely are missing when he's not playing. So adjusting to that was a little rocky. I think we had a tougher first half than we've had in recent games on Saturday against Shorewood. But yeah, so I mean, he's going to be yelling wherever he is, if that's on the field or the sideline.
At the ref.
Yeah, at the ref. Yeah, just yelling
Still
at
get those
everyone.
yellows and reds, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, having him on the sideline is. I mean, I can hear him, and I'm probably the furthest one away. So he's doing a good job.
Well, let's see here now. So if you are going to be kind of a coach moving forward, part of the coaching gig is to evaluate talent. Tell me about your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Three-year
All right.
starter. He's played since his freshman year.
Yeah, no, it's actually been really great. For club now, I have a good goalie, but in before going on to my current club, in recent years, I really didn't have that great of keepers. And going into high school the first year, it was kind of crazy, finally having a good goalie in Mackey. And I think it's just like an assurance that you can have that even if you make a mistake in the midfield, you still have Mackey to kind of save you.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to our coach's son, Darius, is actually coaching the keepers this year, and I think he's had a huge part in really just sort of refocusing our attention in the defense on just it starts from the very back, starts with good keepers. So Darius is a keeper himself. He's played in college, so he's just giving me and my my understudy Omar just really working us, pushing us to the top of our game. And Omar, with Omar behind me, we have a great keeper pipeline going. And I think that's going to continue as long as Darius is, guiding that.
So we've heard about Omar a little bit. Let's talk about some of the other guys on the field. And maybe we'll start with you, Mackey. Tell us a little bit about the defensive side of things. Who's back there in the line?
Absolutely. So our back line is, we got Luke Walker. Is he on the left?
Yeah, Luke's on the left.
Yeah,
right?
so Luke Walker's on the left. Zumi is next to him. Jacob's our right center back, and then on the right we have Ryan, our freshman. So, just a really close-knit group of guys. Not super big talkers, but
Get the job done.
they have me to direct them, and then they really just show up and get the job done. Especially Jacob and Zumi. They're both 6 foot something, really physical guys. So they know how to really set the tone of the game from the beginning. And then Luke and Ryan on the outside are actually they love to attack. I think they've really contributed to a lot of our goals over the course of the season, especially on set pieces, because Luke's happy to take balls from the midfield and just put them into to the 18 for headers and things like that. So, definitely, it's a very strong defensive group, but then it also has a huge impact on the way we play. Counter-attacking, pushing forward really fast, things like that.
Well, and Ben, I've got to think that helps you guys up front too, and the defensive players can attack a little bit.
No, working on being that I'm on the left wing, Luke being right behind me. Luke's actually gone on a few amazing runs this year as well. So, we have a lot of left backs. Two, Teddy's the other one, but Luke is definitely. I played Luke with club as well, so I know he plays, and I don't know. He always puts in a shift. A vast amount of trust in him. So if I have to go back and forth for him, and I know he's going on a run, I just let him do it.
Well,
but
tell us about the front line. Who's
front
up
line.
there with you?
So I'm on the left. I do my thing out there. Center, who's our forward striker? Aaron, he's our striker. He's had a good season. He's good at holding up the ball, good at landing it off, giving it to where he needs to go. Hasn't scored though, which is one thing that's very weird. Is that all of our strikers, but actually only 2 of our strikers have goals, and it's only 1 goal. So most of our goals aren't even coming from our strikers. Outside guys and midfielders, as we've seen. On the right, we have a few guys out there. Probably the hardest working one on the far side is other Sebastian. We call him Sanchez, but works hard. I don't think there's been a game that he's gone out there and not done as best as he could do. Same thing. Sometimes we put Ryan's brother Chris over there. Does the same thing. Not as consistent, but he's when he's on, he's on. Scored us. I think he has 1 goal for the season as well. And then Gian's wild card. You never know what you're gonna get with him, but we love him just as much as everybody else. But so all those guys up there, and then other strikers. Abdul, he's got 1 goal as well. And then Azona, we've spoke about him a bit. Quite the player he is. Shout out to Azona for his first goal of the season last week. But that's who's up top. And I think when it comes down to it, they know what they have to do, and they'll do it as best as they can do. And good group of guys.
And Sebastian, we haven't forgot about the mids. So who else is playing in the middle with you?
We usually start, before I got hurt, it was me, Omar Padilla, and my brother Eddie. And I think it's just really good to start with that group because we all pass well. Omar, I think he lived in San Diego before he came up here, and he played with Pateadores Academy and stuff like that, and he just really understands what he's doing. And so, having someone new like him has really helped our team.
He's a tank. He doesn't
He doesn't go
doesn't
down.
go down.
And just being able to do the one-touch passing and stuff and not really rely too much on one person in the midfield has really helped. I'm pretty sure both of them have got goals too this season and assists for sure. So it's been really good in the center mid. And then also with the forwards, they haven't scored as many goals, but I feel like they've been helping a lot in the midfield with dropping down and holding up the play. And that's what we really wanted to emphasize was them holding it up and then passing it back to a midfielder, and then we can hit it to the wingers like Ben and really just get people through. So we use a different system, but I think it's worked for us so far this season.
Kind of hard to argue with 10 wins, 4 losses, and 2 draws, right? And then we were talking earlier. We told you guys I wanted to talk about your teammates a little bit. Mackey, you mentioned that the team manager deserves a little love here today,
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
right?
So shout out Amadou.
Always.
Really just, we have great team chemistry, but it starts with the manager. He's just a super energetic, optimistic guy, helps run drills.
gets involved sometimes.
Yeah,
Gets
absolutely.
involved.
Yeah, no, he's
Suits
a
up for every
he's
practice,
a
wears
player.
cleats.
Wears
Yeah,
cleats,
exactly.
suits
Never
up.
seen a manager that wears cleats.
No, I mean it's something special for sure. I mean he's sort of just an embodiment of the energy that we have on the team. Definitely sets the tone for every.
Well,
practice,
everybody has
every
their
game.
role to play, and it's not an easy go without the manager, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
huge.
exactly.
So glad you actually wanted to do that. I appreciate that. We mentioned you're in the semifinals, but we didn't really talk about the game much yet. It's a big one, Meadowdale. Edmonds-Woodway, Meadowdale, always a big thing, right? You guys are there's with more on the line than usual too. 6 p.m. start time on Tuesday, and it's neutral site since it's district tournament. You guys are playing them at Shoreline. Just kind of has a weird sound to it, doesn't it? Meadowdale, Edmonds-Woodway at Shoreline. Tell me a little bit about Meadowdale. What kind of a team are they, and what kind of a game are we expecting?
Allow me. Meadowdale is a very aggressive side, and that's been very, very generous. One thing I would point out is their fans are also quite the speakers, but that comes with all sports and all events against Meadowdale. But being that it's a rival game, and they did beat us last year in districts, I think, like I said in the beginning, definitely more of a reason to beat them and not to have to worry about playing another game to attempt to make it into state. And, even though we did beat them in the regular season, that doesn't mean anything because the same thing happened last year. And like I said, they took us in districts and they actually were the ones who bumped us out. But may sound weird being that it's at Shoreline, but I mean, regardless of where we play them, I think it's a game where everyone has to step up. And I mean, personally, I trust my team. I think everyone knows what's expected. And I think we have to come out on top and just play our best game. We shouldn't go in thinking it should be an easy game because I think that's what. To any game we've lost, I think that's what's happened because we always go in, with the season games against the Wooden Showcase, thought we were on a hot streak, thought we had it, lost, and last year in districts against Meadowdale, thought we had them in the season, but they wanted it more than we did, simple as that. But I don't know, I'm ready for Tuesday.
Well, and you guys have good mojo going, right? You just won at Shoreline Stadium this weekend, so
absolutely.
it's kind of a nice change. Are we expecting a big crowd to be out there? Or are you guys already pumping it up around school?
Our fans have been actually really good this year.
Yeah.
Shout out the fans, aside with everyone, they've actually turned up.
There's a lot on the line on Tuesday,
There
folks,
is,
so get on out
there
there.
is,
So.
but, yeah.
And we should also mention that if you win that game, you'll play in the district championship game on Saturday. That would be a 7 o'clock start time. At that point, you will have already clinched a state berth, so that's huge.
Yes, sir.
But it does go a long ways in determining where you're seated for the playoffs and maybe even getting a home game. So it would be a big deal. Mackey, you've played at the state tournament before as a freshman.
Yep.
How big would it be for this team to get back?
It would be absolutely huge. It's just a whole different level of competition. It's a whole different level of atmosphere. It really is. As you get higher in the sort of the competitive arena, you're really getting more and more competitive games as you go higher up. It's just a totally different thing, but it's a thing that I think our team is ready for. Definitely, I think we deserve it. I think we've worked hard enough that it's totally possible, and I'd love to have the opportunity to give that a shot.
There we go. And we should also point out if the team were to lose on Tuesday, they would have another opportunity on Thursday to win to get into the consolation bracket and still play on Saturday for a chance to go to state. So it's not a loser out game necessarily, but again, it is a clinching game if you can win it on Tuesday. So kind of a big deal, and we'd like to see what you guys can do with that. As far as the seniors, two of you here at the table, any thoughts about next year yet already? I know, Ben, it sounds like you want to keep playing soccer, right?
I think that's, I've obviously thought of backup plans, but as the main goal in my life, I just like to continue playing and go, ideally, everyone wants to go pro, but, a lot of work comes with that. But personally, I think I could have the work rate, but lots of steps to be taken. But for me, that's definitely something that's just, it's high peak goals. So, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. And obviously education, if has to be, I will pursue that as well. But number one goal is always scoring goals and lifting trophies. So.
And Mackey, for you, it sounds like you've got lofty goals in the education field.
Yeah, thank
you're,
you.
You're heading down to California. Tell us a little bit about where you're going next year.
I am, yeah. So I'll be starting at USC in the fall of 2020. I'm going to be studying biomedical engineering. And just, I think I'll probably pursue athletics, probably soccer at the college level. But yeah, just excited to, have the opportunity to save people off the field. But yeah, really just, looking forward to that.
So you,
for sure.
you just said fall of 2020, so a gap year coming up for you.
A gap year.
Do you know what you want to do with that year yet, or are you still trying to figure that
So
out?
I'm exploring my options right now. Hopefully, internship work somewhere. I'd like to leave, maybe travel a little bit. But yeah, definitely up in the air right now.
Sebastian, you're coming back next year, Edmonds-Woodway. What have you started thinking about it yet? I know obviously you got to get the leg healed first and foremost, but what do you envision your senior year looking like, and what can this team do maybe next year too?
Well, we're gonna get a lot of people returning. I think we only have 9 seniors or something like that. So there's gonna be a lot of returning players. Eddie's gonna be coming back and really just holding on the center mid, especially Ryan. They're only freshmen, so I think they're going to be able to really hold it down. And I'm expecting to see Aaron, our forward, really do well too. Oh, and also Zumi in center back is going to be coming. So we're going to have a lot of players in key positions still coming back, and I think it's going to be really good.
Could be a bright
Yeah.
future for you guys. And
And,
first and foremost this week, though, right? So we want to get that. And we should also mention a couple of different things here. The Instagram account, guys. Who are the two guys that run the Instagram account?
These two boys.
These two guys right here. You guys have a little fun with that. The team has an Instagram account. The handle is EWHS Boys Soccer. What can people expect to find if they go on there?
Pure gold.
Gold,
It's amazing.
okay.
You won't be
Yeah.
disappointed, let me tell you that.
It's
Pictures
definitely
of Azana.
yeah. Definitely any Zona fans out there,
Yeah.
make sure to follow the account.
Oh, yeah.
Just a variety of things.
Videos,
Videos, pictures.
memes, GIFs,
Mhm.
pictures,
Absolutely,
everything. Okay.
absolutely.
Anything
Oh,
you
yeah.
can imagine, we've got it on there.
So do you two have to approve it with each other before you post something?
No, I mean usually it's
kinda random.
yeah, we'll just text each
Yeah.
other after the game, like, hey, have you posted? But yeah, no, it gets done, and we definitely take some pride in it.
yeah.
It's a good time, and it's really just representative of the sort of just the whole atmosphere, yeah, the camaraderie, just the energy of the team. Really, we're fun, but we're serious about. the way
And
we
the
play.
tagline says most uncoachable team in Wesco. If you go to the page, is Coach Ochoa okay with that, or what?
I hope he doesn't know.
He does now, right?
Absolutely.
It's a little fun though, right? With some things that
absolutely.
happened in the past.
Absolutely.
Is that,
Yeah. So he, Coach Ochoa is definitely, he's big on the idea that his teaching philosophy can only take us so far. So, he is the coach, but regardless of how much instruction he can give us on the field, it's ultimately up to us to take it as far as we can down the stretch and really work our hardest to make what we can, to achieve what we can. So it's really just representative of the way that our team needs to come together beyond what anyone can coach us to do to get where we can be.
and then I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask this before the interview was over, because we talked about it last year. Ben claiming that he's the FIFA champ in the group.
I will confidently say anybody in Westco wants to play FIFA.
Anybody in not even on the team. It's in
Anybody
Wesco.
in Westco wants to smoke in FIFA. I'm free. PS4.
Sebastian, does he have the game that he claims he does?
He
or-
knows. He
I haven't
knows.
played him. So.
Ooh. All right.
Might be our
If
next team
Gian
bonding.
can always
Is that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
unbonding? It depends,
Exactly.
depends on how that goes. So we're hoping you're not going to be playing much FIFA this week, because
Nah,
we're hoping you
no
guys
time
will
for
be
that.
busy. So again, these guys have a lot going on, and I can always say, I got to say it one more time. Tuesday, 6 p.m., Edmonds-Woodway, Meadowdale, huge game. Winner clinches a state berth and moves on to the district championship game. So get on over there to Shoreline Stadium and watch these guys play. Guys, congratulations on what you've been able to accomplish so far, and best of luck this week.
Thank you.
Well, once again, another Mavs Warriors rivalry to look forward to.
Yeah, and a lot on the line on this one too.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry in itself, but this is for the right to, number one, clinch a state berth. Whoever wins that game automatically gets it. Number two, you get to the district championship game, and the other team on the other side of the bracket's going to be tough either way. As Marysville Pilchucks had a huge year this year, and so has Shorecrest. Matter of fact, Edmonds-Woodway lost to both of those two teams earlier. So when I was asking the guys who they want to play, they kind of want revenge on either one, but they're going to run up against a very good opponent regardless. But yeah, that should be a really fun game to go see on Tuesday night. I might have to try to get on over there and watch it.
Yeah, so much good sports going on this week.
There is.
Yeah, and so we still need to talk about tennis.
Tennis, the 3A divisional tournament is coming up Tuesday and Wednesday at Jackson High School. So these are our local girls teams trying to make it into the regionals. So we'll see how that works out. It's a really, really loaded 3A league this year, Wesco was. So
Yeah.
it's going to be really tough to see if we can get any of them through. But they'll be over at Jackson. And the weather sounds like it's going to be
Weather's
great
gonna
for
be
them.
great,
So that won't be an
yeah.
issue at all. So good luck to them. And then I did want to mention a little golf too, because again, we had another Edmonds-School District tournament for boys and girls. Separate days, separate locations, but this again is where all four schools get together to see who can be the champion of the district, if you will. The Meadowdale girls taking the team championship this year. They defeated Edmonds-Woodway by 5 shots. 4 different girls for Meadowdale. This was a 9-hole course over at Nile. Hannah Peterson, Sarah Reitz, Nicole Brunette, and Sydney Miller, all shooting in the 40s, so they get the job done there as a team, although they didn't win the individual title, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. Edmonds-Woodway on the other side, the boys winning the title, and we left out who won the girls individual because we're going to give a boy and a girl from the golf world our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week this week. The individual winner for each of those tournaments, it was Rachel Putz for the girls. She plays for Edmonds-Woodway. She shot a 40, and actually she tied with Brianna Schulk, who we've had on the show before. So Rachel shot a 40. Also, brother Silas won the boys championship, 18-hole course. He shot a 73. So an opportunity to give out 2 shirts to a pair of siblings. Why not, right? So Rachel, Silas, congratulations. You are the Action Jackson Plumbing Players of the Week for your outstanding performance on the golf course. And the golfers now move on to the next round, and they will also try to be qualifying for state coming up. So stay tuned for that.
That's got to be a first. I don't think we've ever given out Player of the Week shirts to siblings
Not
before.
not on the same week we have it anyway. I
No.
venture to guess maybe we've done it similarly in the past, but
Yeah, but not on the same.
not on the same week. So
No.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
It is
Same
fun.
sport too.
Yeah, we could probably do more of that, maybe.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, again, so much to do this week in terms of getting out to see some good sports. So do that, and we will have results for you next weekend.